Okay. While I was working at DevMountain as a student mentor, I was asked to build a housing portal for our facilities manager to help him manage all of the student housing assignments. DevMountain offers free housing to all of its full-time students at each of its 4 different locations. Um, and in the past, spreadsheets are what have been used to document all of the data related to housing. So, as you can imagine, tracking hundreds of living arrangements across different cities and apartments and dealing with frequent changes to students' start and end dates. This was very difficult to do and caused a lot of headache while doing this through the spreadsheet. So I was able to build this clean and simple user interface to make viewing, filtering, and editing all of these housing assignments much more efficient. This project gave me the opportunity to learn some new frameworks and technologies that I hadn't used prior to this project. I had built projects in React and Angular, but this one allowed me to learn a framework called Vue. It's a component-based architecture front-end framework, and I really enjoyed working in it. But let me show you what the app does and what it's all about. So on the screen here, you can see a whole bunch of different information. And one of the most challenging things while building this app was dealing with all of the different changes that can happen. So every piece of data on this screen is dynamic. Almost everything on here will change based on a certain situation, whether it's a campus location, a selected date, whether you're filtering, sorting, whether a student lives in a certain area, things like that. So dealing with all of these state changes was a challenge, but it was fun to tackle. So this middle section here, it will show the user all of the different apartments. Each gray box is an individual apartment in Provo, and it will show the apartment name, the gender associated with the apartment, some notes, the different students assigned to each room in the apartment, and you can you can scroll down and see all of the assignments, or you can search for a specific student, and it will filter things out and highlight the matches for you. You can filter by female students in apartments or male students in apartments, students with overdue tasks. So if you see this exclamation icon, that means that this student has either not paid their deposit or they have not signed their contract. And as you saw, if you click on a student, it brings up a modal with some more details that you can look at. You can add notes, unassign the student, or save them. You can clear the filters, and over here on the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the unassigned students. So students who have requested housing but have not been assigned to an apartment. And if you want to assign them, one of the fun things that I was able to work with is the native HTML drag and drop API. So each of these little rectangles representing a student can be dragged and dropped on a slot. Now you'll also notice that there's some feedback to the user as they drag as to whether or not you can drop or assign the student to a particular room. So you see this green empty means that's good, we can drop there. The schedule conflict, that means that on October 8th somebody will be moving into that apartment, and that conflicts with this person's start time. So you'll also notice on this apartment the male icon turned red, meaning I'm dragging a female student and I should not assign her to a male apartment. And if you try and drag it or drop it onto that slot, it will notify you of any conflicts and why you should not do it. Now you can choose to override those or cancel. Over here on the right, if I toggle to waiting list, this list of students is determined based off of their zip code, where that student is from. So if all of these students live within a certain radius of the Provo campus, so they're kind of, they don't have priority over some of the other students who are coming from out of state. On the left-hand side here, this is where we can toggle between each of the 4 different locations. So I can go from Provo, and if I want to check out the Dallas locations, it'll swap out things here, change the name there, and all the options. It also displays the current vacancies and shows you the men versus the women vacancies. All of these WPR 45s are 45, 46, 47 are upcoming cohorts. So if I want to just skip to the start date of the next one, I can choose that. You'll see some pieces of data change, the date here, more unassigned students showed up on the left or on the right, and I can make some different assignments based off of that start date. Drop them there, and now this person is assigned to this apartment. I can also manually choose a date. Let's say a student leaves early, or you need to make some change in the middle of a class session. You can skip ahead to a particular date and time, and it will show you the assignments related to that date. And again, everything updates. These are the current cohorts that are learning at DevMountain right now, and you'll see they're color coordinated to show you the individual students' cohort. Clear dates just resets things back to today, current time. Yeah, that's basically it. Everything is editable. You can add notes, modify apartment settings, and things like that. Again, I'd say the biggest challenge with this project was managing state, all the different moving pieces, and the second challenge I would say was gathering all of that data from the backend, from our database, and getting it to display on the screen. I used GraphQL to help get the data from our database in the structure that I wanted, which was fun. I learned a lot through this project studying GraphQL. Yeah, the data is coming from 14 different tables, so joining those tables together, our database is a Postgres database, so joining the different tables together, having different conditions, whether it's the start date of the student, the start date of their cohort, the location, the selected date on the front end of current housing assignments. It was fun dealing with all the pieces and putting it into a nice, simple user interface. So that is it. I hope you like it, and please feel free to contact me if you have any questions.